Hello and welcome to Stretford, Paddock. My name is Joe, that is Stephen Howson, and today, Steve, we're looking at the game yesterday, the Fulham game. There's a lot to go through. Obviously, there's the immediate reaction stuff, but then there's also the sort of bigger picture stuff that comes with a night's sleep and a bit of reflection. But I want to start with the game yesterday. 3 wins in a row. I think it took Amrim 37 league games or 36 league games to get
47.
47. He didn't even get 47 league games, did he?
Or maybe it was he won it once
comps.
in 47 or something. I don't know.
It's insane. Anyway, and it's happened in 3 games under Michael Carrick. The only other manager, I think, in Premier League history at Manchester United that won their first 3 league games is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. What is it about interims...
With Michael Carrick as assistant.
With Michael Carrick as assistant. But what is it about this type of scenario that seems to be the only way we can have these real white-hot moments of sort of joy and success in the last sort of decade?
What do you think? Because Michael Carrick was involved?
It's surely not. I mean, he is a common denominator.
What if it is?
Maybe.
What if he's mint?
What do you think about him is mint if he is? Like, obviously, this has been mint so far. This has been great. But what do you think it could be about him that's doing this?
I don't know. Obviously, he clearly wanted to be a manager. He was a player that didn't rely on pace and physicality. He was someone that obviously was observing the game quietly and dictating it from deep. I think that lends itself to being a manager for starters anyway. You know, the amount of strikers and goalkeepers that are managers compared to midfielders is an absurd tilt, isn't it? I know there's less strikers and goalkeepers, by number anyway, but like the good managers seem to always be, Fergie's a big outlier in that, only being a striker, but Clough as well being a striker. The overwhelming midfielders, I think there's a reason for that. They're a little bit of a jack of all trades, aren't they? They have to understand quite a lot of everything, not just attacking or keeping a goal. He went and did a decent apprenticeship. Obviously, he was at United under Ollie for all that time. He took over as interim, was pretty damn good when he was interim anyway. And then went and did a decent apprenticeship at Middlesbrough. And considering he did lose his job at Middlesbrough fans don't have anything bad to say against him. That's always a good sign, I think. And, in the same way that, Vincent Kompany can get relegated with Burnley and go and take the Bayern Munich job and be successful because his ideas translate better to better players. Maybe, because we're still very early in this to get totally giddy. I'm still wearing pants.
Thank God.
Maybe there's just something that the way he translates the game didn't necessarily work at Middlesbrough, but because of where he was a success and how he played the game at United, it can work at United.
It's weird, isn't it? Because, if we're honest with ourselves, he's clearly not had enough time in either his first or second interim stint at United to radically change the tactics, the learning, the way we approach, or certainly implement a detailed kind of tactical vision at United. He couldn't have done it in the cumulative 6 or 7 weeks.
No, and he couldn't have coached anyone better in that time. It's just not feasible.
So he's obviously doing something else really well, isn't he? Because I'm not saying he's not doing any tactical stuff, but it takes anyone more than a couple of weeks to learn these things and get them drilled in. And we saw with Amrim, he was trying to do it for 13, 14 months, and maybe they never even fully got it. So he's obviously very good at the other stuff, the kind of the man management stuff, or getting players ready for the game mentally rather than just sort of tactically. We don't really know as fans, do we, what is more important as a manager, which does do the most sort of has the biggest effect, whether it is that motivational management side or the tactical side. I think we've become obsessed with the tactical side over the last sort of 10, 15 years. But do you think he's showing that there's that sort of forgotten side of things where it is getting the players up for it, getting the players willing to do the difficult stuff, and all the stuff that we're seeing from United in the last few months or last few weeks is just as important as the tactical stuff?
Yeah, I think one of my favourite books, Soccernomics, talks about most people overstate the importance of a manager, and most managers, and again, the language of this is very important, and the comments are going to disagree because they're thick and they don't understand what I'm saying. But most is such a broad term. There's outliers. Yeah. There's good outliers at the top. There's bad outliers at the bottom. Most managers are generally competent. Most managers understand tactics. They understand how to set a team up. They understand team selection. Most sit in this thing here. The very, very best will will sit above that, and they will be able to get more out of a team than less out of a team, and the very worst will maybe take down a team. But also there's fit. You know, if a manager, and I don't think Ruben Amorim is a bad manager. I think his system was a bad fit for either the Premier League or the players at his disposal. I think that's it. Yeah. And I think Michael Carrick is showing us right now he's a better fit for this team. He might not be able to go to Sporting and get a fucking single point. But for Manchester United, it looks like he's a better fit. And that's the thing, is like most managers are competent. Michael Carrick is probably just a competent manager. Ruben Amorim is probably just a competent manager. But the fit at Sporting and the fit at Manchester United are completely different. Michael Carrick understands the Premier League, having played hundreds of games in it, that probably every single team has got massive strengths and massive weaknesses. I think the time in the Championship where it was so level of a playing field in terms of competitiveness was probably a really good grounding for him for coming into the Premier League. He might just, from someone that's played and won everything at Manchester United, when he talks about playing at Old Trafford, when he talks about the expectation of being at Manchester United, when he talks about what it means to play for Manchester United, there's not one person in the dressing room who can say anything to him. Not one. And I think even Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had a bit of an issue where he's got Cristiano Ronaldo in the dressing room. He's bigger than him. Yeah. Michael Carrick is a bigger player than anybody in that, more successful player than anyone. Maybe Casemiro. But, I mean, Casemiro at the moment, he looks like he absolutely adores playing for Manchester United. And I don't think he's a drama in a negative sense in any way whatsoever. So I think when Michael Carrick's trying to translate what it means to play for this club, the pressures of playing for this club, he can actually get it and articulate it in a way where the players can get it and understand it. And maybe he is taking the pressure off them in a way that maybe other managers that we've had didn't know how.
Yeah, like you said, even Casemiro, who Champions League obviously has won 5, but he didn't do it for Man United. He hasn't played hundreds of games in this stadium for this club and won at the same time. He did it elsewhere, which is obviously slightly different. I don't want every video to be about should he get the job, shouldn't he get the job.
But should he get the job?
Well, did you learn anything either way from the Fulham game? Because I think that was a closer game, definitely than the City game. I think Fulham damaged us more than City did. I think our press wasn't quite as successful as it was against Arsenal. I think Fulham, again, played really well. They're a very good team. The form table showed the same thing in the last 8 games. Only Arsenal were sort of higher than them on the form table, and that was on goal difference. They're one of the most informed teams in the league. But did you learn anything from that game that you didn't realise from the first 2?
I didn't like his subs. I didn't like going back to a back 5, and I think that last 10 minutes we invited a lot of the pressure that came onto us. And I criticised Ruben Amorim for the same thing, where we tried to protect what we had. And maybe at 2-0 you can do that, and maybe he was right to do that. But when it got to 1, the momentum had already shifted. And even, I don't know how it was even allowed to stand there second with 2 incorrect calls on the throw-ins, which led to them goals. But when momentum had shifted like that and they get the penalty, you kind of think, is there a way for us to put... I wanted Shea Lacey for Ahmad because it looked like Ahmad was out on his feet. He'd stopped. He'd worked so hard that I thought just a little bit of freshness, something to make them think about something coming back. Now, Sesko was kind of doing that, but we'd sank so deep and we were playing off the back so much, and we needed to. Yeah. To protect what we had, and ultimately it paid off because we did manage to get it. But I didn't have the confidence after they got the second in the 90th minute. How are we going to go and win this now? I knew we had time, but having the time and executing it, obviously it's an incredibly difficult thing to do, to just go and score a goal. Like, I didn't think of that. Yeah, good point. But we did manage to go and do that, and it was a bit of magic from Bruno, unbelievable dummy for it, and then a fantastic finish from Sesko that give us the ability to go and do that. But yeah, I wasn't happy with his subs. I thought that we invited a bit of pressure. Ultimately, we got the thing done, and that's the most important thing out of all of this, is that we did go and get the thing done. But yeah, I had a bit of a wobble with the Now, different story again, Tottenham at home. I think what we need is a real big rousing win, and I think if you're going to do it, Tottenham give you the opportunity to do that. If we're able to do that, put it on them, sustain it, that would be real good. Because I think Tottenham and West Ham now, out of this 5-game run, they should be the not free hits, but they're the very potential comfortable wins.
It was interesting, like you said about the line dropping back. There were points before they got their second goal at 2-1 where our line was so deep that they were crossing the ball from maybe sort of 25 yards out, and there was no one within like 5 or 6 yards of him because Luke Shaw was on the 18-yard line. I was impressed that after we got our third, our line never got that deep again. It stayed outside the 18-yard box, and I thought that's a lot better because we could close their crosses down, and you've got to do a lot more to...
We went to a 6, like the wingers had tracked all the way back and gone back.
And they just had they had all that space in the sort of, little flank in front of the 18-yard box. With Tottenham obviously coming up, with Carrick, we're not just going to win every single game between now and the end of the season. We might. Obviously, that would be amazing. But is there part of you that if we do get to a realistic point where Carrick is at least one of the big contenders for the job next season, do you want to see him go through a bit of adversity? Not you won't ever want United to drop points, but just to see our response to maybe a couple of draws and a loss. Because if we have this sort of fairy tale final 14 games of the season and it's 10 wins, 2 draws, 1 loss sort of dotted through, yes, it would be amazing and he would almost certainly get the job. But if you're looking at the future of Manchester United, do you want to see how this manager overcomes a bit of a blip?
Nah.
Or do you just...
Fuck it.
Just go for it?
I think the fact that you're winning games is more important.
Okay.
I'm sure he's lost before. I'm sure he's dealt with that. I'm sure he's learned with that. Is it different to doing it at United? Yeah, probably is. But I don't think you need to lose to know how to lose. I don't think you need to experience that. Don't need to lose 10-0 to know not to lose 10-0. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
So I think there's enough learning can happen in 90 minutes of games. I think there's enough learning in conceding 2 goals but winning like we did yesterday. We didn't need to lose yesterday to learn the lessons that we can take from yesterday, I don't think.
I hope not. That's the mad thing with me. For me, I think with Carrick, where you think, right, so we've sort of had a moment that you can learn from there, a bad spell that under Amorim felt like we would have probably just drawn that 2-2 and we'd all be, gutted today and what, I can't believe we've done it again, etc., etc. So many drop points from Leeds. But we've got through it with a win. And hopefully they can still learn and show the next time that they don't do the same thing again. Just the bigger picture again. We're in 4th place, 5 points behind Villa, 6 points behind City, who obviously both, I guess City in particular, in a title race. What are we looking at here? What are we looking at? When can we get excited? Because Liverpool, Chelsea and Brentford already won. They won as well, so it's still very tight that way. But Villa lost, City drew. What's happening?
We're in a very real top 4 race. We've got people on our shoulder. Chelsea, Liverpool, and probably Fulham in the grand scheme of things are not far off us. We was only a point ahead of Fulham before the game, weren't we?
I think so, yeah.
So if we're looking at Manchester City saying we can catch them, they've got to be looking at us saying they can catch us. And so have Liverpool and Chelsea. And it ain't going to take much with how tight it is. You drop 1, you could drop 2 or 3 places that weekend.
Yeah.
I think we just got to try and keep winning. I think if you get to them that mythical 5 wins, you'll probably not be 4th.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think Liverpool play City next.
Yeah.
So you're either going to get closer to City or you're going to open up a gap with Liverpool. So it's just a case of just keep stacking the wins. And the longer you do that, the better the position you're going to be in. We're not in a title race. It's going to need 4 losses for Arsenal. I mean, the draws could really do it, but it's going to need 4 catastrophic results for Arsenal for us to do that. And then I think their goal difference is better than ours anyway. So you need 5. 5 out of 14. And
we can't drop points in those moments as well.
5 out of 14 is probably asking a fair bit, I think. Can we catch City, though? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're shit at the minute.
There's a point yesterday, I don't know if you watched. Did you watch their game at all? That after Tottenham got their second goal, where City just couldn't do anything. There was like a 5-10 minute spell where Tottenham were just flying through them, and they probably should have got another one in that moment, and they didn't. But it is weird that City just don't look themselves. Haaland has barely scored for 2 months now. Aston Villa, the XG stuff's finally catching up to him.
He's on 21 goals.
He's on 21 goals. He's still the top scorer in the league, but I think he's got 1 in his last 8 or something, which, Sesko wouldn't ever dare do that. But I do think that it's mad that 3 wins, and we all knew it from how tight it was, but 3 wins, and you're looking at title races. You're looking at, we're not there yet, but a couple of bad results for us. Because realistically,
well, here's the difference. I'm looking at the table.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
it matters.
It's nice.
And I've not been doing that for, it
nice.
feels like 10 fucking years, I'm going to be honest with you.
No, it's very rare that we get to look at the table. And I wonder if maybe...
Start doing maths.
Because realistically, Arsenal probably have to drop points in 7 of those 14 games. Because we're not going to win every one. So, I mean, we might, but probably not. So, realistically, can Arsenal drop points in half of their remaining games? That feels unlikely, doesn't it?
Extremely.
But it's impossible.
But let them, fuck it. Like, they've peaked. We told you this the other week.
Yeah.
They've probably peaked. They'll probably think that Action Man deserves like a lifetime contract, even though that didn't help Arsene Wenger for some reason.
Yeah.
Good. Because next season, City won't be this bad.
No.
Liverpool won't be this bad. Chelsea, if they get rid of this fucking idiot that they've got, won't be this bad. Like, they'll all be... And hopefully Manchester United will be in that mix as well next season, where we can actually say, I think we can do it, you know, and not have people ask us what drugs we're taking. Like, that's where we need to be. If Michael Carrick wins 10 out of the 14 remaining, we're not 4th.
No.
We are 2nd or 3rd.
Yeah.
And that's outrageous. We were 15th last season. And is it possible for us to win? Have you seen the 14 games?
Yeah. Well, you've got the hardest 2 games out of the way. We've got one of the most informed teams in the league out of the way. Like, it is...
The next 2 are winnable. Not free hits at all. I
Yeah.
really think, you know, we haven't got Wolves again, so there's probably none of those left. We haven't got Burnley again. So the very worst teams, the very best teams, not got to worry about those. It's the fluff in the middle. And this season, we've not been great against that.
Yeah.
That's why we're not in a title race, because we've dropped points against that repeatedly. But if we can parcel up West Ham and Tottenham, I think we finished well. And then we fixed the attack last season. I don't mind the personnel in defence. I think we have to learn how to defend better as a team. But that probably starts with bringing in a little bit better in midfield. Because once Casemiro goes off, it does kind of go to rat shit repeatedly. You bring in a Berg or an Anderson or both.
Yeah.
I think that Manchester United midfield suddenly starts to look. I mean, and you probably could justify bringing in both.
Yeah.
Because
definitely.
you're gonna have Champions League next year.
Oh.
Start the tune.
We're
We're gonna have that music next
It's
year.
looking like 5th is going to get it as well, because all of the English teams have done qualified already. There's a little buffer between it's the top 2 get it. England are currently by far number 1, so they'd have to drop off quite a lot to not get second now.
And I think that we're going to have Champions League music being played back at Old Trafford next season, and I think it's not just going to be a case of sneaking in because we were 5th. I don't necessarily think it will be like, oh, we came 4th. I'm not going to say we're going to finish 3rd or 2nd just yet, but I think it's a definite possibility for us. You know, Villa have got wobbles in them.
Yeah.
They went on an incredible run of form which found them where they are.
Yeah.
But they started bad. They could end bad. You know, they're probably an injury or 2. I mean, they've got a great midfield, but if they had an injury to midfield, I think they'd really struggle. City are not the force that they were.
Something in right there for me.
No, it's great, isn't it?
Yeah, fantastic.
So I think we could easily do that. And I think that feel-good factor, Carrick's at the wheel, you bring in a couple of decent signings. It's got to be a big one to replace Casemiro, the form he's in. And yeah, we might have a chance next season. I don't think title charge is on the cards next season,
just
even if it
say
goes well. But I think you'd absolutely be comfortable going toe to toe with anyone. He's already told you can be the best.
So good. Right, cheers, Steve. Thank you for joining us at home. Make sure you check out the merch as well. The link is in the description, and we'll see you in a bit.